How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the highest co-host in the world, Mike the Big Crum. Mike, how are you?
The buzzingest co-host in the world. I'm doing wonderful. This is my second straight day off. I haven't had one of those without being like out of town on vacation, for a while. So it's nice to like kind of get my schedule back under control. Like I worked out today. I went shopping. I got my photos from my trip. Yeah, put those on the wall. And it's just nice. Like I know I have tomorrow off. I'll be able to cook, some food. I'll be able to do my workout. And, it's nice to not have a crazy schedule. You feel like the 2 days that you have off, you're writing articles and catching up on everything. Like my article, I got the outline done today and it's like, all right, if I get to it, I get to it. I have tomorrow off, so it's nice.
So, Mike, is this the calm before the storm, or is this kind of the new life for the pig?
I would like this to be it. Now, I know that place, the way back, is notorious for people calling in, and they know that I'm reliable and I will go in and I have no life. So there's, no real reason for me to go like, no, I'm not going to come in. Other than if it's Sunday, I'll go in and help out. I'm not going to leave my guys hanging. So tomorrow I might just get called in. I got called in last Thursday. I worked Halloween because, all the kids wanted Halloween off and my old ass don't need it. So I understand that it's likely that I'm not going to be working 3 days every week, but it is nice just to like, my body feels good, and not just because I just ate the edible. It takes about 40 minutes to kick in. So it just feels good because I feel good.
Absolutely. Well, I'm jealous, Mike.
I appreciate it.
What was that?
Not many people are jealous of me, for any reason. So I'll take it.
What was that you were taking a shot of? I know you only drink the finest of the finest. So
it's my favorite thing. It's the pecan whiskey. It's pecan roasted whiskey. It's like a whiskey that's a little bit sweeter than most whiskeys, so it'd be really good in like drinks. But I just have it straight because I'm too lazy to make the drink.
I assume you've had the peanut butter whiskey too, right?
Yeah, peanut butter's good. Pecan's better though. Pecan is
okay.
Oh my God. And it's so hard to find. So I was at the store today and I know that store had it. So I went and got a bottle. Only one though. A lot of times I'll get 2 or 3 to make it like I could do it like 1 bottle a week. Cause I don't drink crazy like that. My brother's the drinker. I'm not. I'll have those couple of shots and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Do y'all keep beer in the house regularly?
Not anymore because the 2-3 beer drinkers are not drinking any longer. The only people in the house that drink now are me and Mitchell. And I used to be the only one that didn't drink. How crazy is that?
Oh, okay. I was going to say because, this time of year, they're always coming out with those themed type beers, like the fall flavors and everything. And there's there's a beer called Shiner Cheer. It's one of their like holiday brews. It's called Shiner Cheer. And it has like a peach pecan flavoring to it. So I would suggest it kind of like after 1 or 2 though, you're kind of done with it because it's a little sweet, but you have to try it at least once.
I do not drink beer. I'm only a hard alcohol guy, but Mitchell would. Mitchell would love that combo.
Yeah, no beer ever for you. Not even like if you're out at a restaurant, just watching the game or something.
No, I do not like the taste of beer, and I don't really like wine. I cook with wine. I like the depth that wine brings. Like I'm doing a pork ragu tomorrow that I'll make. It's not really for tomorrow. I'm just cooking it, portioning it, and I'll freeze it. And then when I want to use it and stuff, I can. But you use red wine in that, or you use white wine for risotto. I'm all in. But drinking, I'm kind of hard alcohol only.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm kind of like the exact opposite. I'm usually drinking Trulies or White Claws, things like that. I rarely ever drink hard alcohol. But if I do go out to a restaurant, like my wife and I go to dinner, I like to have a cocktail. You know what I mean? I don't have a bottle in the house, but when I did have one around, I did drink more, and I kind of liked it. But I think it's best if I don't.
We set up. We're going in December, day after Christmas, to Disneyland. and they had me set up the reservation for Goofy's Kitchen. It's my older brother who's a chef, and his girl who's like works for Amazon. So they got money, you know. And so they had me set up. That's like their gift to us. My birthday is Christmas Eve and Christmas, and they're like paying for that. So I made sure to add on a birthday cake for me. And I told them, I go, just so you know, it's 12:15, so it's cocktail 30 for me and Mitchell, and y'all are gonna pay for it. So it's gonna be a fun meal at Disneyland.
So to talk to us a little bit about Goofy's Kitchen.
Okay, it's not really my style. It's a buffet. Like, it's cool. Like, you have an omelet station. You have the Mickey pancakes, the Mickey waffles. There's French toast, bacon, eggs. You can do eggs Benedict. So I'll stick more to the omelets, the eggs Benedict, the stuff they'll cook and make for you right there, because I'm not really a buffet guy, because I know I'm a snob. Sorry. But I'll grab bacon and sausage and friggin' some French toast and stuff. Like, I'm going to use it. Don't get me wrong. But like, it's not, I would go to like Lamplight Lounge. I would go to the terrace. That's, I would have done something more like that, more fancy smancy, look at the menu, lobster nachos type shit. I would not have got that, but that type of stuff's on that menu. I love the character interaction, but I more go to get pictures with characters. So the characters coming to your table and stuff, it isn't like it for me. So I'm still going to go. I'm going to love it. It's at Disneyland. It's good food. It's everything, but it's not my thing. But, that's what the cocktails and the cake are for. That's my part.
I got you. Sounds like a good time, Mike. Here we are. We've got off track already, Mike. Before we get into our football discussion tonight, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, before we start talking any football, let's go off track a little bit more with my personal favorite topic, of course, being Meatless Monday. I know you had some time to prep this week, Mike. What was on the menu today?
I have had a crazy week of cooking. So Sunday, because it was the bye week, and this is a tradition on my on bye weeks, I put on Red Zone channel, which I have on every week if there's no doubt, when there's doubt the Dallas game isn't on. But I put it on and I cook a bunch of stuff. So like I made burritos, I made egg rolls, I made this chicken sandwich that was so good. I roasted chicken thighs, and I took all the skin and chicken off and chopped it up, and then put it with a apple cabbage slaw and a chipotle mayo and sandwiches. And then we took the egg rolls and the burritos, we freeze them, and that's what I'm doing with the pork tomorrow. But today I did stick to meatless. I had a veggie omelet with spinach, tomatoes, and avocado with a biscuit and some hash browns. And then I had a cheese quesadilla for lunch, which was really good. And I'm not really hungry for tonight, so I'll have like a glucose drink. Two big meals about all I could do, especially as fat as I'm getting. God. Listen to the audio, people, for like the next couple of months till I lose this 20 pounds. Just listen to the audio. Don't look at me. I don't even want to look at me on here. What are you guys doing? But yeah, it was a good Meatless Monday. It was some good food.
Well, Mike, you got to get those calories in, because I know it won't be too long where you're going to go through that cleanse. You know what I mean?
Yes, January. That right after I get back from Disneyland, I will go on my 10-day cleanse, and it'll be nice to be able to really, I had a hard time doing it before because I would have to like take a red line or do coffee because I was working 5-6 days. And it's just hard to not I didn't have the energy, because you're already eating a limited diet, So yeah, I'm going to go on those cleanse, and I'll be able to go completely on it, and hopefully put a good 5-10 pounds that I gain on the Disneyland trip off.
Mike, when you do that cleanse, is that almost like you're going borderline vegan there for, about a month or so?
Basically, yeah. It's no flour, no sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol, no dairy, no meat. The food is amazing because Michael Simon is one of the greatest chefs of all time, and he just puts together an amazing 2 cookbooks worth. So they gives you 20 breakfasts, 20 lunch, 20 dinners to, I pick the 10 that I want the most. And it's just really, really, really good. So it's not really an issue except for that, like if you have low blood sugar or you need a snack or you want a coffee or an energy drink to get you through work. That's the hard parts. And then the lack of sugar. Sugar is like a drug. So when you eliminate it from your body, you get headaches. Like your body, like it's like you stop taking a drug where your body, what's that word when they go through withdrawal? Your body withdraws a couple days, but it feels really good after because the diet, it's a inflammation reset. So really what you're doing is you're clearing your body of the stuff that makes your body hurt. So it's nice.
Again, I'm not trying to get, too personal, Mike, but when you do that cleanse, do you tend to lose, 10, 15 pounds? Or, I mean, is it, I know it's not focused on losing weight, but it's more of a cleanse, but do you find yourself losing a substantial amount of weight?
Typically, I lose about 8 pounds over the 10 days.
Oh, so, wow. 8 pounds in 10 days. Jeez.
Yeah. So you lose some weight because I try to keep working out. I continue to work. And then you're eating better, and you're cooking your food. So it's not eating somewhere where there's artificial calories and, what you're putting in your body.
It's crazy to think like the stuff we enjoy eating so much, how bad it probably is for us.
Yeah, I know just from doing it. When I have pizza, I know tomato sauce really affects my inflammation, but I just love, that's probably my favorite. Red sauce is probably my most eaten food. So it's hard to just go, well, I'm not going to have pizza, lasagna, spaghetti, zoodles with garlic and tomatoes. Like I eat too much of it. I know. So it's hard to wean yourself off of that stuff when you like it so much.
Yeah, crazy to think that tomato sauce might not actually be very good for you.
Yeah, it's just some people it is. Like other people, it's coffee. Other people, it's red meat. That's what the cleanse is about. It's kind of you do the cleanse, and then the idea is to add in flour and then see how that affects your body. Then add in dairy. And it's every 10 days you do a certain specific thing. And it's like for 40 days, basically. But I just do the cleanse.
Interesting. Mike, you see glancing over at the TV that has Baltimore added to their lead. What's the score update?
Oh, shoot. You know what? I had the lousy Laker game on, and
boy,
I do not care about watching them. It's just something to put on because I forgot about the night game. I'm gonna check it right now. I got the game on. They're showing for next week. They're promoting next week. I'll let you know the score in just a sec.
No worries, man. Shout out to the Lakers. I can't believe how bad they are.
They're awful. Like they're like tanking without tanking awful.
Right.
17-6, Baltimore.
17-6, okay. So, Mike, you mentioned that, the Cowboys had a bye week this week, and here we are officially at the halfway of the season. So we thought, why not give out our midway season awards here? So start us off, when you look at the rookie of the year, who was your offensive rookie of the year?
Why don't we start with you? Because we probably have the same one. So I feel like, why not let you start it off and get your points in instead of me hogging up all of it before? Who's your guy? We both know who it is.
Prior to injury, it was going to be Breece Hall for me, but man, how can you not vote for Kenneth Walker, Mike?
Oh, I thought offensive rookie of the year. The first one was for what's for just Dallas. It's fine. I have the other one for offensive rookie of the year. I have.
Oh, I got you. I know what you're saying. So you have Jake Ferguson.
No, Tyler Smith, of course.
Oh,
he went from like fighting McGovern to see if he was going to start to like starting a left guard and being comparable. Like he hasn't been great, but a lot of people think he's been great because he's exceeded expectations so much. So Tyler Smith was my Cowboys pick. Offensive rookie of the year, though, overall in the league, Kenneth Walker. I'm with you.
Okay, let's clarify here. For all these, do you have Cowboys players?
No, just offensive and defensive rookie of the year. The first one, I thought that was for Dallas, and then we started going into because I see rookie of the year, so I see what you did. Who's offense, who's defensive, and who's overall?
Right. Oh, well, Mike, looking at defense, I assume, based on the tweet you had out earlier, who your defensive rookie of the year is for the Cowboys, but let the listeners know.
I was trying to decide between Sam Williams and Darren Bland because Darren Bland's played limited, but he's played really well. So I was like, let me look up both their stuff, and I began to realize, like, Sam Williams is beasting, dude. You don't – overall, his numbers are like, okay, nice rookie numbers. Like, he's playing good. But then I looked at like, okay, so we all agree. We could agree. Let me ask you something. Dorrance Armstrong's having kind of a breakout season, right?
Yeah.
Eight games in, Dorrance Armstrong's got 5 sacks, 10 tackles, 4 for a loss, 7 QB hits, a forced fumble, a fumble recovered, like a couple of block kicks. Like, he's busting ass. He's playing well. We would all agree, right? Okay, he's done that with 276 defensive snaps. Now, let me give you Sam Williams' number. 9 tackles, 4 for a loss. 1 tackle less, same for a loss. 2 sacks, so he's behind. Dorrance Armstrong has 5. 4 QB hits to 7 QB hits. And he has a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. He's busting ass. He's done that in 101 snaps.
My goodness.
100. He has 175 less snaps than Dorrance Armstrong. And he's matched him in tackles, except for 1. Matched him in tackles for loss. Is only 3 sacks back. Is only 3 QB hits back. And he's had the same forced fumbles, more fumble recoveries. Bro, for somebody that when I watched, I was like, oh, yeah, nice rookie year. He has some developing to do, but you can see it. When you go into the numbers, it's like, damn, this kid can. And he really only has speed and arm length. Like, he doesn't have a pass rush move yet. He has no idea. Like, Dorrance Armstrong has a couple pass rush moves now. Sam Williams does not. He's so fast that he makes you set as an offensive tackle, and then he strong arms you.
Mm-hmm.
That's his moves. That's what he's got right now. He doesn't bend the corner. He's just speed to power. That's what he has. And he's like beasting people in 100 snaps, dude. I am so excited. I really, really hope this team keeps Tank Lawrence at least another year, because they have Dorrance signed up another year. They have Neville. They have Osa. Like, they have Golston. The only guys they're losing is Dante Fowler. Sam Williams could take his snaps. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
And Anthony Barr, who's linebacker. I mean, just let Lawrence play these years out. Like, I know how Dallas works. And they're going to think, you know what? DA and Sam Williams could play those snaps.
Yeah.
We bring in a veteran maybe as a placeholder or a rookie, and we go at it, and Parsons our main guy. Don't do that. Let this team have this year and next year with Tank and Sam Williams and Dorrance Armstrong and Micah Parsons and Osa and Gallimore and Bohanna. Just let them. Don't mess with that. Man, it's scary.
3 years without unit, man, is pretty scary to think about.
It is. And Sam Williams just being able to be like, cool, give me another, 200 to 250 snaps on the year to learn, to just go in and murder people and learn how to, like, they're going to have another year where it's like, okay, dude, let's start, like, this offseason, they're going to be like, these are the moves you need to make to counter. Like, we understand you're not going to bend around the edge. That's not yours. But this is the way teams are going at you. So figure out a counter to this. And he's going to have all offseason to work on that, and then a whole nother season to implement it and see how offenses react to it.
You mentioned this, the snaps, Mike. I wonder, could Dan Quinn kind of be preserving Sam Williams to prevent him from hitting that rookie wall and then to unleash him here in the second half of the season?
Absolutely. Well, he saw Osa last year. Osa got forced into too many snaps. He was a murderer. He was better than Sam Williams was in his first 100 snaps. He was a killer. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, okay, he's dead. Like, y'all wore him out because we had so many injuries. And so, yeah, I think with everybody, there's a reason Micah Parsons went from 100% of the snaps to averaging about 60% as he played so much defensive line, so much pressure. You got to keep that rotation going. If you want your pass rushers should only be in about 55% of the snaps, your big Nate, your Tanks, your Parsons and stuff, if they're going to play all DN. So, yeah, keep that guy. 200 snaps on the season for Sam Williams is awesome.
Okay, so Sam Williams who not on the Cowboys is your defensive rookie of the year, Mike?
To be honest, I didn't even look one up because I was thinking defensive rookie of the year for the Cowboys. So you go. This is on you. I talked about Sam Williams all this time. Now you get the floor.
I don't, I didn't have a lot of time to get numbers done, Mike, but for me, it's easily Sauce Gardner. I'm not sure what your thoughts on him, but the way he's playing, how the Jets are playing, I think he's a big part of that. He's kind of, it feels like he's been the missing link to that unit. I mean, we saw the draft that they had, and our guy Jermaine Johnson, he's been a part of that, but he hasn't had. I don't want to say he hasn't had a lot of success because he's played in 6 games, but the numbers aren't really eye popping or anything. He's actually Sam Williams has had a better season than he has, but Sauce Gardner, he's been a major difference maker.
Sauce is easily the defensive rookie. Like, there's not even a close second to that guy. He might be a top 5 corner right now as a rookie. He's just the Stephon Diggs beat him once, and then Sauce was like, okay, you got me, and then just was like, I'm gonna make one of the best wide receivers in football not a thing in this game at all. So he's a monster. He's scary good.
Yeah, I had a point. I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, he's been a beast this year, man. I didn't know what to expect from him because I didn't know much about him as a prospect, but my goodness, man, if the Jets got them one.
Sir, I am the one on alcohol and edibles. You cannot be forgetting.
I've been a little under the weather. My son was sick for like a week, and then he got me and my wife sick, so I'm not 100% today.
All right, man. Well, we'll work through it. We'll get through it. You take some meds?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good.
All right, Mike. So who is your rookie of the year?
I got Kenneth Walker. Pierce
easily.
had Pierce is more of a workhorse right now,
Yeah.
But if you look at Texans, like, there's only so much he could do. Walker's on a team that's leading the division. He's more efficient in less carries. He has more yards per carry, has more touchdowns. So I went with Kenneth Walker, but the case could be made now that we're going over like defense, though. The case could be made for Sauce Gardner to be, he's so good. And his team is 6-3, and they're in a battle in one of the toughest divisions in football. Like,
right.
That's the two. You could convince me Sauce Gardner for sure.
If Zach Wilson could just be comparable, dude, I mean, imagine what the Jets could be.
I know, man. It just him getting hurt early, and like, it just puts you so far behind. But I think he can get there, and they're starting to use their guys. Like, Mims was a weapon this last week. So like, Elijah Moore and Mims don't have to worry about being traded. They know the idea is to ball out now the rest of the year and bring their value up themselves. And so, it's time for them to just get at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, for me, Mike, rookie of the year, Kenneth Walker. But to your Dameon Pierce point, like, if roles were reversed, I think Dameon Pierce, I don't see him doing any worse than Kenneth Walker. Obviously the Texans aren't that great. We don't know what Kenneth Walker would be on the Texans, but I do think there's something there with Dameon Pierce for sure.
I think he has like 60 more carries and more yards, but he's like 4.3 a carry or something to Pierce or Walker's 5.4. So, he's like the Pollard. Walker's like the Pollard to Pierce's Zeke.
Yes, sir. So, Mike, we're going away from the rookies, looking at just offensive players. Who is your offensive player of the year?
It's got to be Tyreek Hill, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. Easily.
4 games over 150 yards, and another one that's 143 yards. Man. Like, just a monster. And he has 3 TDs, which he's not a red zone. Like, that's not his thing. If he's getting TDs, it's on big plays, so I don't kill him on the, like, not having 8 touchdowns or whatever, I think he'll end up somewhere around 8 for the year, but he may push 2,000 yards, like, just crazy. And his team's winning. Yeah. So Cooper Kupp's doing really well numbers wise, but they're not doing well in the record. And I think if you're, for an award, you have to be helping your team win too.
Right. Mike, 76 receptions, 1,104 yards, 3 TDs, Tyreek Hill is also my offensive player of the year. That's ridiculous, dude. If CeeDee Lamb were to finish the season with 76 receptions over at that 1,100 yards and like 7 TDs, you're like, wow, that's a good season.
Yeah, and he did it in
He's
8
still
games.
at the halfway point.
It's disgusting, dude.
Dude,
Disgusting.
I don't know what Mike McCarthy, or not Mike McCarthy, but Mike McDaniel's doing, or how what scheme he's running to get to have so much success with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. But my gosh, man, I hope Kellen Moore is watching Dolphins film, dude.
Give that look. I love CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. I'd trade either one of them for Waddle or Tyreek Hill.
Oh
and
God,
he's got them both. They're almost uncoverable one-on-one themselves, and you have both of them. That's a dream. That is a dream team wide receiver 1 and 2. There's no way you can't have a player over top of both of them. And and Waddle's almost uncoverable underneath. Tyreek Hill's your big play guy, but he can't do what Waddle does as far as a route runner underneath. So Waddle is not as good deep, but he's really good. Right. And then he has as good as anybody underneath. He can do all the Cooper Kupp bullshit, under, and then can do a lot of the Tyreek stuff. My God. And they have those two. That's scary. Look at Tua. Tua was he can't play football. He got those two. He's an MVP candidate. Monster.
How would you feel right now if the Cowboys, when they made the Amari trade, not in addition to the 5th round pick, they also got Anthony Schwartz, and we had him in this wide receiver unit? How would you be feeling about, him being a weapon for us in the future?
We need speed. And that guy that is what he does. He can run. So do you have to develop him? Of course, but speed. We need some speed. We're missing. The thing we're missing is a Waddle, a Tyreek Hill, a Schwartz even at that lower level. So could OBJ be that off of 2 torn ACLs and almost 30?
You never know, Mike. He sure looked good for the Rams the last 7 weeks of the season. That's for sure.
His playoff run. The playoff run was OBJ was their main guy in the playoff run until the end of the Super Bowl where Cooper Kupp went crazy. Yeah. OBJ was their number 1 wide receiver. I don't care. He was a monster.
All right, Mike, we both have Tyreek Hill as the offensive player of the year. Who is the defensive player of the year?
Well, backup defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Who not named Micah Parsons, excuse me. I forgot to add that.
He does not allow us to say Micah Parsons, who's the defensive player of the year. So the backup defensive player of the year is Nick Bosa for me. 8.5 sacks, 20 QB hits, 8 tackles for a loss. His team is a winner. He's a monster, and he's one of those Parsons that's like Matt Judon has 11.5 sacks. But when I think of great defensive players, I don't like pass rushers. I don't think of Judon. I don't, and that's why it's a surprise. Oh, damn, Judon's doing that. He has Bill. He has a great schemer, and he's a great player. But if you give Bill Belichick, Micah Parsons, or Nick Bosa, or Myles Garrett, I think they do even better because they're just better players. Just that guy happens to have the all-time defensive mind of football. So for me, I'm giving it to Nick Bosa, and I just hope he can stay healthy and we don't play them in the playoffs. Because I'm not going to say I hope he's hurt for us because that's an asshole thing to say. Yeah. But I hope we don't have to mess with him in the playoffs because he is a monster.
Mike, for me, I'm going with the outside linebacker of the New England Patriots, Matt Judon. Dude, he's already almost set his career high in sacks after 9 weeks of the season, dude.
He's
11.5 sacks.
He's killing. He has 3 more sacks than the guy I said. So he's destroying. He's on pace to break the record for sacks by 2 sacks.
And the Patriots are winning too, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they're winning defensively. When they win, they're a defensive team. Their quarterbacks are not great. Their running backs are not great. So
I think they've got 3 shutouts already this season, dude. They shut out the Lions and they shut out the Colts, which, of course, with their situation, that's not that impressive. But another team that they shut out. So,
The Lions were the number 1 offense going into that and got shut out.
Shut out bad.
It's impressive.
Definitely. Okay, Mike, who is the non we know that the MVP award is a QB award, but which non-QB is your MVP again, not named Micah Parsons?
I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill, and I'll tell you this: I would barely give Tyreek Hill the award, even if Micah Parsons was available. Because I mean, 1,000 yards already is this. What are we doing, dude? 450-yard games at 143 or 3 and 140. Like, he's disgusting. Like, and he turned that team with Waddle, like giving the Waddle like the secondary coverage. He turned that team into like an offensive juggernaut. Like, the Bears were going up and down the field running on him, and they're just come back. And until the Bears played us, they were a top team defense analytically. I think they were like 8th. And of course, we went up and down the field on them, and then Miami went up and down the field on them, and it's just crazy how good he is. So yeah, I'm gonna revert to the offensive player of the year and just say it would be Tyreek Hill.
Mike, I think you took a peek at my show sheet because I've got Tyreek Hill as well. I'm curious, how do you think the Dallas defense would do against the Miami Dolphins?
We would be okay because our pass rush would affect Tua.
Yeah.
And we have guys like, say what you will about Anthony Brown, he's fast. So he'll be able to go on deep routes. And then it's hard to throw at Tyreek Hill. He's matched up against, on Trayvon Diggs, he's matched up against Tyreek Hill before and done a good job. He's not afraid of the underneath stuff. I wouldn't want Trayvon Diggs on Waddle, put Anthony Brown on him. But I think we'd be okay because they don't run the ball really. Our pass rush would be effective. And we would play probably 2 deep, and then our linebackers would be Curse, who could eliminate a tight end or a slot guy, and LVE or another linebacker safety hybrid. So I would like our matchup with Miami, honestly.
It's crazy that Cedric Wilson just has done nothing this year, dude.
There were reports we were going to go after him at the trade deadline. I would have loved to get him back here.
Oh man, that'd been awesome, dude.
Yeah, I think if we had him and James Washington, we wouldn't really worry about OBJ. Not that they're OBJ, but cost and effective moves that Dallas does, that would fit more with them.
Man, that makes me feel even worse about Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I mean, he had for whatever reason, it was too big for him. They overloaded him with too much or whatever. He just has not been good. And I watched the All-22 on the last game, and he was lost a lot. He was like, he don't know what the playbook is, and that's sad. 8 weeks in, he should know that, or at least to a good amount, especially assume how well Dennis Houston knew it going in with what he played. Now, he didn't have the talent to get open, but he was always in the right spot. That's what we were told, and that was the problem with Jalen Tolbert, and still remains the same. Man,
so he's not lining up in the right spots. He doesn't know where to be on the field. I mean, what exactly is it you saw in week 8?
Yeah, he ran a couple routes through the wrong spot and got chewed out by Dak. He had to be told where to go once or twice. Like, yeah, he just doesn't. It's like he doesn't know what he's supposed to do most of the plays. That's bad.
That's crazy, man, because it seemed like him and Dak were working together a lot. Dak was singing his praises in the offseason, and to go from that to this, it's weird.
Yeah, I just remember his training camp, and we heard Lance Lenore was the Cowboys' darling for 3 years, and then could never do anything. So, just how it is.
Yeah. All right, Mike, going back to these awards here, which QB is the MVP this year?
I think Mahomes took the lead from Allen this week. Allen had a couple of bad throws in the loss to the Jets. He kind of cost the team. He even came out and said, this loss is on me. And the way Mahomes took it
impressive last night,
dude. Against Tennessee. Jalen Hurts is undefeated, but his pass numbers just aren't. I mean, he has like 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Like, I don't care what your record is, that's not going to win you the MVP. He just doesn't throw the ball well enough to match up when you look at what Allen and Mahomes and Tua are going to put up numbers wise, you're going to look and go, well, Eagles, yeah, they have the lowest strength of schedule in football, and his passing numbers aren't very good. So, aren't very good as terms of MVP numbers. And so I don't think he's going to be, I think he'll be in that 4 or 5 range. And then the top 3 are going to be Mahomes, Allen, and Tua right now. Tua's numbers are insanity. So, and all 3 teams have winning records. So I think that's your 4 is those 4 QBs. And then you throw in a Tyreek Hill or a Micah Parsons in there at the end.
All right, Mike, I know my guy's not going to win it, but you mentioned Tua. I think he's just as deserving as him. He's not on the level of a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. For me, Mike, I mean, I look at this team, I wonder what they would be without him, but Geno Smith, quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks.
Geno Smith is played. It's crazy that how well he's played. He leads the league in completion percentage.
What now?
He leads the league in 73%. It's crazy.
It's weird, dude. I mean, everybody was wanting to fire, Pete Carroll, saying how Seattle was an idiot to get rid of Russell Wilson, the franchise quarterback, and keep like a 70-year-old head coach. And you see the how Russell Wilson's doing. You see how Pete Carroll and the Seahawks are doing. It's crazy, dude.
Geno Smith is straight up a better quarterback than Russell Wilson right now. Now, I get it if you want to go on resume or like how people kept saying Wentz for 3 years after everybody knew Dak was better than Wentz. Everybody was still like, I don't know, it was Wentz. He had that one good year, 1 year, and he was a 2nd overall pick. And Dak was a 4th overall pick. And so everybody wanted to lean into Wentz. That's people saying Russell Wilson is better than Geno Smith right now. Like, Geno Smith's just better right now for whatever reason. Offensive line or play caller or wide receivers or whatever, or Wilson's just not the same guy. Whatever the reasoning, Geno Smith is better. And it's going to lean into the next question because he's my answer.
Yeah. All right, Mikey, comeback player of the year. Now, it's interesting because it's not like Geno Smith was retired or injured last year. So what exactly defines comeback player when it comes to this award?
If it's about injury, obviously he's not there. But if you're talking about, maybe he gets most improved.
Right.
That could be. But, I don't know. Comeback player of the year, one of the options was Geno Smith. When I looked at betting odds, I went like, okay, was Geno Smith, I think, was 2nd. And so I was like, I think their team's winning. He went from a guy that everybody was like, that's your starter, to like winning games legit. And not just like, well, they're running and they have the Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor defense. Like their defense is okay. And their running game is good. But like he's the catalyst of it. Like 50% completion percentage.
He is a threat.
Yes. And he's mobile enough. Like he's balling right now. So
and dude, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are having good seasons.
Yeah, and it shows that like they're a legit 1-2 wide receiver combo because they didn't going into the year, they didn't have a I'm going to switch this game. Baltimore's killing the Saints now. I'm going to go see if the Lakers are getting blown out yet. LeBron didn't play, so I assume they're going to get killed. But yeah, so I'm going Geno Smith because he's been so good when nobody expected anything.
Yeah. For me, Mike, I have to go with the King Derrick Henry, now leading the league in rushing yards. Without Tennessee, dude, they would have no offense. Without Derrick Henry, the Tennessee Titans would have no offense. And he's a physical specimen. There's nobody in the league like him.
Did you see where they went? I don't know if it was the whole game, but into the fourth quarter, like a wide receiver didn't have a reception.
Yeah.
And they were playing with Kansas City.
It was crazy. Malik, I mean, he didn't look great, but there was a couple of balls where he threw like a perfect ball to his receivers, and they both dropped it every time.
Yeah, he looked pretty lost out there, but he's a third-round rookie, trying to learn in one of the toughest atmospheres to play in the world, and he just didn't make the one last play to keep Kansas City from being able to come back.
Those Titans, man, they have a strong defense, dude. You know, when Ryan Tannehill comes back, they'll be an interesting team to watch.
I think it's a real test for what is this defense different? Is this defense different, or is it the one that's going to that can still get pushed around by teams like Tennessee and the San Francisco 49ers? My nose is itching the hell out of me.
Tennessee kept running the ball with Derrick Henry. I think they probably won that game pretty easily last night.
Yeah, well, they were on the defense on the field 41 minutes. Like, what do you want them to do? They were dead. By the end of the game in overtime, the defense had died, had given everything on the field, and the offense just didn't make one last play to win the game.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see the development of Malik Willis because he's kind of a fun player to root for.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has the tools.
Yeah. All right, Mike, who was your coach of the year?
Robert Saleh, Jets.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one, dude.
6-3, second in the AFC East. He's beat Miami and Buffalo in division, two teams that solidly have better rosters than he does, just plain and simple. And he's just been surprised. He won at Green Bay, which doesn't look as impressive now. But at the time, I picked Green Bay to win. I thought, well, yeah, Green Bay is not that great, but they're not going to lose at home to the Jets. Beat them, so yeah, I understand Dable. I get that, and I get Pete Carroll. All three of them deserving, but I just went with Saleh because I like the two wins, the two big wins he has over the wins of the other two.
Yeah, those signature wins.
Yeah, tough one. Yeah. Tough category.
Yeah, for me, Mike, I went with Brian Dable myself. You mentioned signature wins. He beat the Ravens, I believe, on the road. They beat the Packers, which I mean that's not really a signature win, obviously. But just to go from what we saw with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett to here we are thinking this is going to be a rebuild year for them, and they're 6-2, just like the Cowboys. It's been impressive.
Probably should have beat us with Cooper Rush, obviously, but probably should have won that game, and we snuck it out.
Yeah, yes, sir. We're talking about the coaches here, Mike. I think you're a Frank Wright guy, but did you feel like he deserved to get fired?
No, definitely not. That's a bad move, but it's a bad organization. Their owner's bad, and so they make bad moves. Like people forget that they wanted to bring in Josh McDaniels from New England at first, and then Josh McDaniels turned them down, and then they went and got Frank Wright. And like we seen, Josh McDaniels was a nightmare in Denver, and he's been even worse for Las Vegas. And like
it's so bad.
I think they're 3-5 right now. They've had QB injury problems. They haven't had Darius Leonard every game. Like there's reasons they haven't had Jonathan Taylor, and they're 2 games back of the division lead. Like I would not have fired him. I think that was especially a week after losing the offensive coordinator. Like give them some time to do some stuff, but they didn't, and they're a bad organization. I don't expect anything different.
Yeah, I don't think he deserved to be fired either, Mike. But at the same time, it's obvious that I would be willing to bet good money that the GM's going to get fired. They're going to be going under a rebuild, a totally different, wiping the slate clean and bringing in some new blood. So it was only a matter of time. Again, it sucks to see, but maybe he'll catch on somewhere because I think we saw some good things from him as his time as a head coach in Indianapolis. But it's still weird to me how that whole Carson Wentz situation went down.
Yeah, that Carson, man, I'm starting to feel bad for that guy. He leaves the Commanders, and they win 3 games, and 2 of them they probably should have lost. But the ball bounces their way, and it just feels like, okay, you know how people say, like, well, Dak's not injury prone. He had freak accidents, this and that. And you go, yeah, but he is getting injured a lot. For whatever reason, bad luck or whatever. I just feel like that's Wentz. Like just something wrong is going to happen with him. Like in a game, he's going to do something to mess up a game that maybe they should have won. That just with Hinkey's no good. Hinkey stinks, but he just doesn't mess it up. I don't know how to explain it, but Carson Wentz is man. He just has bad football karma. He really does.
It's crazy, man. They almost beat the Minnesota Vikings yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, they really did. Oh, yeah, they ended up losing that. So that would have been 3 straight. Yeah, Minnesota ended up coming back and win. I forgot. Actually, Hinkey threw a pick. that kind of put them back, into it. So, yeah, well, we're all going to be rooting for him on next Monday. So,
Yes, sir. Mike, after Frank Reich getting fired, are there any other coaches you think should be on the chopping block or are on the chopping block?
McDaniels for sure. Like he took a playoff team that added Devontae Adams and another player that I'm blanking on, but he had added a couple of big name players, and they're like way worse. So yeah, him and then Nathaniel Hackett, because they fired who's the guy that kicked our butt last year? Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
They fired Vic Fangio, who was a defensive coach, and the offense looks worse, and they upgraded at QB. Like, say what you want. We all know Wilson's an upgrade from Drew Lock. I don't care how Drew Lock can't play football. Yeah. So he lost his job out to Geno Smith, who's now like an MVP candidate, So, and for them to get worse, and he was supposed to be an offensive coach, like, fire that guy off into the sun, dude. I don't even, like, woof. He's been awful.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how bad the Denver Broncos offense has been. For me, Mike, I'm going with Cliff Kingsbury out of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. He's a guy that looks great for a while, but when he figures it out, he just doesn't have the way. When teams figure him out, he just doesn't adjust well, and he doesn't seem to get the most out of his quarterback. Like, say what you will about Kyler Murray, he has a great arm, he has great athleticism. Like, he should be making more plays than he does. Like, you should be setting him up for stuff that he does well. And it seems that he just lets him play, and he's not great at being he's not a great quarterback, but he has ability. So why is Daniel Jones and them winning games? Why is Jalen Hurts looking so good? Guys like that. And Kyler Murray, like, say what we will, you're a Jalen Hurts guy. I'm not, right? But we would all agree, talent-wise, Kyler Murray's on another level. Like, Jalen Hurts don't have his arm. He don't have his legs. He doesn't even – neither of them are great processors, but even Kyler Murray's been a better processor on the field, and Jalen Hurts looks great. He's a top 5 candidate for MVP because they built an offense around him that works for him. Where is that with Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I agree, Mike. All right, here we are with your views from the sidelines. Mike, you mentioned OBJ earlier, but do you think that Dallas needs more playmakers on offense?
Okay, so you said the key word. You said needs. Needs, I'm going to say no. Needs is strong. Like, needs means if they go into the playoffs right now and match up with anybody, we know they're losing. Like, I don't see that. Are you scared of Philly if we have Dak? They could beat us, but we're not scared. I'm not. No. I hate the Niners matchup. That one worries me, but I don't go into it going, we have no shot. Tampa Bay, with the way they're playing now, no. Like, sure. Green Bay, like, go down the line. Seattle, no. So, maybe you need playmakers to be in the league with Kansas City and Buffalo, but at that point, you're in the damn Super Bowl. So I'm not going to say need. Could we use another weapon? I would not mind that. Right now we're a defensive team that has good special teams, that runs the ball well, and then they have Dak in the passing game. What about when we need them to be, okay, we're facing the Niners, Niners say, you ain't running, so beat us passing. Do I think we could do that with Gallup and Lamb, how they are right now, and Schultz and the tight 50-50. So would I like to get another guy? I would.
No, I agree with you there. How would you rank the playmakers on offense? Would it be like,
Pollard?
Lamb? Oh, okay.
Pollard.
Okay.
Pollard's 1 and tier 1, and then everybody else goes underneath him. And really everyone else is probably playmaker, probably exactly. Gallup, because he can make a certain type of play. And then CeeDee Lamb. That's about, I'm not going to call Ferguson, Schultz, Pendershot, or Elliott playmakers. Lamb can make plays because he can make plays in the open field. At least he did in college. He doesn't as much on the pro level. He hasn't shown a lot of yak like he did. But our playmakers are Gallup will go up and get the ball. I'm blanking right now. Tony Pollard, obvious playmaker. And then probably Turpin as a returner is a playmaker. So you'd like to see him get involved in the offense.
Crazy to think how good CeeDee Lamb is, but he's not really considered a playmaker, you know?
Yeah, no, he's kind of like, he reminds me of Hopkins, but Hopkins a little better at going up and getting it. Like that's Gallup's job. So he's a little limited, and that's why in some games he's taken out of.
Yeah. All right, Mike, here we are with one word, and this week we're going to use one word to describe if Dallas signs Odell Beckham Jr., I will be blank.
Surprised.
It's a good one.
Surprised. I mean, I hear Dallas was interested in Honey Badger and Bobby Wagner and Von Miller, made contact with them, talked to them all. Money came in, they weren't even close. So I just expect the same thing. You know, it was a bye week. Get Dallas's name out there, get OBJ's name out there. You know, all the news sources want a reason to talk about Dallas. Get it out there. I kind of got killed for saying that in my group. And I was like, oh, damn. All right. Let me get out of here. I'm getting killed over here. But, you know, I don't know. Why would I think that they're going to do it? They're interested in everyone. That Dallas is interested is every name in free agency. And so this is just the next big name in free agency that's there. Like, I hope, you know, I would like it to be even more than the player. I'm not a big OBJ guy. I think he helps, but I don't really care if we get him. But I would like to get him just so next year when someone goes, hey, you know, Dallas is interested in insert name, I could go, well, maybe. I mean, we did get OBJ last year, even if it was for the year. Like, it'd be nice to at least believe it. And I just never do.
Yeah, for me, Mike, I'm kind of along the same lines here. I would be stunned if Dallas were to sign OBJ.
Yeah, they just don't pay people. Stephen Jones will come in with who was it? I was listening to a part on 105 through the fan, and somebody said Stephen Jones is Chris Rock from the old movie. I can't remember what it was, but he's like let me get a rib, and the guy's like, one order of ribs. He's like, no, one. How much for one rib? You know, and he tells him, he goes, how much is a soda? He's on 99 cents. He goes, how about I give you 15 cents and you put some soda in my hand and I can, you know, that's the perfect way to describe Dallas, even with top tier free agents. They for some reason still believe there's this glamour behind the Dallas Cowboys. It's like, you don't ever win. Why do you? Your name ain't any bigger than Tampa right now, or hell, New England, even without Brady. You know, Steelers, and they're not winning anything. Your name, Rams. Your name ain't bigger than them. They can go to LA Rams, Miami Dolphins right now. Like, your name ain't all that. So them coming in going, yeah, we'll give you 15 cents on the dollar, but you get to be a Dallas Cowboy. They get laughed at.
Did you ever watch In Living Color?
Oh, that's the all-time for me. Other than Chappelle, that's the all-time for me.
That was Chris Rock. That was like, good Lord, that's a lot of money.
That's the character, yes. From that, from what I'm talking about, he took that character into some sketches in Living Color.
I got you. Man, I'd love to watch some reruns of In Living Color, dude. That was my show back in the day.
It's on. Just go to YouTube, man. They have them.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll have to remember that. All right, guys, please forgive me. I have to take a quick 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
He's going 5 minutes. So I'm trying to think, he's done this to me twice now where I've had to come up with it. So our next topic is the top 5 soups. So maybe I'll just mess with him and give him, and he hit me up and he's like, well, is chili a soup? Is this and that, like gumbo a soup? I didn't do any of those because I cook a lot of soups. So I'm like, I'll just keep to soups because like I consider chili a braise. So it's more like a stew, and like chicken stew, gumbo's more of a stew, stuff that takes a long time to develop is more thicker, type stuff. So I left those out. So I took my top 5 soups with no chili, no gumbo, no stew, no pho, and no ramen. I didn't use any of those because I can do top 5 ramen. I can do top 5 pho. So I went top 5 soups for mine. I had a couple of ones that I couldn't make the list. I make a homemade chicken noodle soup and a tortilla soup where I make the tortillas and everything, but they didn't make the list. So I'm getting on number 5. That was not 5 minutes. See, I was trying to drag it out a little bit. My number 5 soup is pork wonton soup.
Dude, love wonton soup, bro. So much.
So good. And so they're little like you would make like pot stickers out of them or whatever, but they're shaped a different way. And then they're cooked in a really flavorful broth, and they have vegetable accoutrements and stuff. So pork wonton soup is my first.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Where do you stand on the egg drop soup?
Good. It's just not good enough to make this list.
No, agreed. Maybe back in the day it would have been for me, but no, not now. For me, Mike, I'm going number 5 is chicken and dumplings.
Chicken and dumplings almost made mine. It's really pork wonton soup is an Asian dumpling. Mm-hmm. So it's similar. Mine's like a pork dumpling soup, and yours like a more chowder version with chicken dumplings.
Yeah. And guys, for some context, when I was I asked Mike when we were talking about soups, I'm like, do chowders and
he doesn't know I already talked about chili. This.
Oh, you already talked about this.
He was gone while we discussed this, so he's okay. Back. He's the one that was drinking on edibles. We just flipped it. We tricked you guys.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, number 4 on my list. I'm going with the classic broccoli and cheese soup, sir.
Great one. Man, it was hard to keep that one off my list. I make an elite white cheddar and broccoli soup. I use white cheddar and
okay.
So
good. What makes you use white cheddar? What made you do that?
Because I friggin' don't want to do the same shit as everyone else. So I was like, well, I'll do mine with white cheddar. And then it tasted really good. I was like, damn, I'm going to keep doing this with white cheddar. A white cheddar is really good for that soup. But regular cheddar is good too. It's about making sure that the broth that you use, that you develop a good broth before you blend in the broccoli and mix in the cheese and everything.
Yeah, I got you. All right, Michael,
you blend it. List. Do you blend your the broccoli into the soup first?
Okay, I have yet to make homemade broccoli cheese soup, but this year that is on the list of things I'm going to make, and I will definitely. Yeah, the recipe I saw him blend it. So yeah. Yes,
blend it and then saute broccoli after, because your broccoli is all going to be blended, so you'll see it in the soup, the little green specks. But after you're done, saute some broccoli and top it on there.
Oh, really?
Trust me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. All right, Mike, number 4.
Tomato soup with brown butter croutons.
I've never had a good tomato soup, dude.
I have so much to make you when you come over here. Like, I have to make you like 10 dishes, and you're going to be here like 2 days. Whenever it is, I know you can't stay here long because your family's so you're going to be here a couple of days. I'm going to have to make 3 meals a day just so you could try good versions, because I promise you'll like my tomato soup with brown butter croutons. Also, I'll make a really elite grilled cheese sandwich and we'll dip. But God, dude. I didn't want to add sandwiches, and I make these really good brown butter croutons, so that's the one I went with.
That sounds delicious. Now, is it like do you make like the tomato cream, like a cream-based soup, or just straight up tomato?
It's tomato, and then it finishes with cream off the heat. So you mix it in; it's a little cooling, and you use cream over milk because it makes it stay on your tongue longer. So when you taste it, it's more like luxurious. It's more luscious on your palate.
Okay, Mike, number 3.
Number 3 is my friend Muhammad's wife's recipe. She's made this for me twice, and it is so good. It's like an elevated version of chicken tortilla soup. It's called enchilada soup. And you, in the end, I have the recipe in my phone. I didn't mark it all down because I don't want to give her recipe out over the thing. I don't know how she is about that. She trusts me with it. But it's like it has the chicken and the rice and the cheese and it's like a tomato-ish broth, but a little bit leaning towards tortilla soup type. And you add in crunchy tortillas, you add in chicken, you add the rice in there, you add the cheese in there, and it's so good. Oh my God, dude. I need her to make that again. It is incredible. Enchilada soup, Steph Dog, Muhammad's wife, incredible at number 3.
I've never had chicken tortilla soup with rice in it. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's what makes it like if you took chicken tortilla soup, made it a little bit more tomato based, and then added in rice at the end, that would be the enchilada soup. It's so good.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that sounds delicious. Mike, number 3 on my list, chicken tortilla soup.
There you go.
I've almost perfected that soup. As many times as I've made it, my wife loves it. My son loves it. Every time I make it, the people who have it love it. It's very good.
Do you make the tortilla chips your own?
Yes, I have. Sometimes I have, but I kind of like just crunching up some tortilla chips, honestly, because they stay hard. You know what I mean? They stay crispy. So I like.
You always need it to stay hard, bro. It's always good to stay hard.
Absolutely. All right, Mike. Moving along. I'm not even going to engage in that joke.
Number 2.
Toscana soup. Olive Garden, another soup I plan on making at home this year. My sister has a version of it that she makes phenomenal, even better than Olive Garden's, but man, Toscana soup.
Question: is that the sausage kale one?
Sausage kale and potato.
Okay, that one's really good. Not the gnocchi then. You don't have the gnocchi one above? That's my second. I had the gnocchi.
That's my mom's favorite. But no, I don't really care for that one that much. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't really care for the little dumplings.
I'm making gnocchi this week with some of the pork ragu. So, but that sausage kale soup is friggin' really good. What's it called again? Toscana. Okay, Toscana. Yeah, it's good.
All right, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Baked potato soup.
Oh man.
Potato, bacon, cheese, sour cream, and chives in it's basically like a chicken pot pie. It's a chowder version of a soup, cream based or milk based, and it just, I mean, how do you not like it? Cheese and bacon and potatoes, and it's almost a stew, but it's very brothy, so it's not. But if you reduced it down to a thicker thickness by cooking it longer and reducing the broth in it, it would become basically like a chicken pot pie, and it would be more of a stew. But in my version, it's a broth version. It's a soup version. It's so good.
Now, Mike, when you make yours, do you blend all the potatoes, or do you blend some and still have some chunks in there? How do you do yours?
I do not blend the potatoes in. I keep it very brothy because if I thicken it with potatoes, like I said, it becomes more of a stew. I don't want it thickened. I want the broth to be slurp, like liquid broth, and then the potatoes and the bacon and the sour cream and everything in there to more that be the thickening of it, the cheese and everything.
Dude, I can't believe baked potato soup didn't make my list, but it's so freaking good.
It's so good. Soup's hard. Soup was. Why do you think I was like when you were like ramen, pho, stew, chili? I'm like, why? There's so many soups. It's hard to get 5 soups. I'm gonna try to get gumbo in there and pho and ramen. Like, no way, dude. There's seriously 3 ramens that I would probably make my list of soups. Like, so it's too difficult.
When I think of like ramen and pho and chili, I mean, of course, pho and ramen, you can consider those soups, but I consider those things to be like their own thing, like their own category, not a soup.
Me too. I agree 100%.
All right, Mike, number 1 on your list.
Number one is corn chowder when you got Fresno State corn. That's just untouchable. And it's funny because it's like a lighter version of baked potato soup because you have the corn and you have the potatoes. A lot of times you'll have the bacon. Not always, depending on what you're doing, but really it's that kind of thing, but it's cooked more with corn stock instead of veggie stock. And then a little bit less cream. It's still cream in there, but it's not like cream based, so and then when you get the Fresno State corn and you make your own broth with the stalks that you cut the corn off of, and then that is a blendable soup if you want. I don't always do that, but you can saute or grill corn at the end and then cut it off of there and top it with it. Make a little like a corn like saute, and then put it in with the soup on. It's so good.
All right, Mike, number one on my list. I had this tonight for dinner. This is one of my wife's as well. Green chicken curry.
All right, so we got some curry in there. I'll allow it.
Okay, I wasn't sure where that stood. I mean, I know, again, curry could be considered like pho and ramen, but
curry for me is a stew. For me, it's a stew. Because typically you serve it over rice instead of like.
It's served with rice. I've never had it served over rice.
You never had the curry right over the rice?
I usually eat eat the soup, and depending on how hot it is, sometimes I have to like get some rice and mix it, dip it with the soup to kind of cool it off. But usually I eat about half of the soup or a third of the soup, and I start to I'll grab a bite of rice, dip it in the broth, and then eat it.
So, see, when I do curry, it's more like sauce-like. It's like a thicker. You get a broth out of your curry, like a liquid broth.
Oh, dude, whenever I mean, because I've never made it, so whenever I go to like a restaurant to get it, it's served in a bowl like soup.
Okay, well, I have not had that, so I will reserve judgment on that because I make curry all the time, and of course Matt and Aman. She's a curry like ridiculous master of curry. Like it's crazy. The stuff she can, any Indian food really, and Matt's really good too. And I don't want to get yelled at. Matt is literally a chef. He's a beast. You put anything in front of him, he can make it. So, but they're really good at it, but I've never had it in soup form. So I'll have to ask her to make that for me.
Yeah, dude, that's really, really good. I can't believe you've never had it in soup form. That's crazy to me.
No, and to be fair, I've never had chili verde in a soup form, and I know they have that, but I cook it because I'm making it tomorrow, and when I do that, I make it more in a stew form. It's a thicker, like sauce that goes over pork more than a broth that has the flavors and the pork in there.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm glad neither one of us had chili on our list because chili is not a soup, but that's a discussion for a different day.
It's not. We agree.
Yeah. All right, Mike. As always, I enjoyed the discussion tonight. While we get you out of here, remind people they can find you on Twitter.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet, nice and easy. Almost got in under the hour. It was close.
Yeah. Did that thing kick in for you yet, sir?
No, I'm gravy. I might have a little bit more. I don't feel the alcohol or but that's your effect. Your effect on me pumps me up, gets me going, talking Cowboys and talking food. It's like, don't pay attention to the one time I fell asleep because I was dead, dude. Normally you get me like, all right, let's go. You keep me hard, sir.
Last week you were in me. This week I keep you hard. I don't know where this is going, Mike.
What is happening? I told you it was going to be bad. You had to bring up the edible at the end.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
We survived another one.